always trying to put me down on the ground, but I never be jealous, cause I'm the right in their minds. In their minds, screw up with me, boy, don't go right in their minds. Come on, at me, boy, there's a fight in their minds.
The Rizal Memorial Stadium, and we are set for a huge game at hand. It's going to be Philippine Army FC going up against Davao Aguilas UMak Football Club here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. On call for today, my name is Jamer De La Cruz, alongside my partner Ryan Phoenix. We've had a fantastic first game earlier on between Manila Digger FC and Loyola FC. What are we expecting for this match between Philippine Army and Davao Aguilas?
Well, Philippine Army has been firing blanks, and that is not one thing you'd like to hear from an Army on and off the field. Army has had a very disappointing season. They've played 4, they've lost 4, including the last 2 games where they lost by a combined margin of 11 goals. On the other hand, Davao Aguilas has been going from strength to strength. Close victories in their first 2 matches was followed by a 6-goal thrashing of Monte. On paper, this game, a definite mismatch, but let's see what happens on the field.
Well, Davao Aguilas UMak is on the rise after that fantastic season that they've had in the Copa Paulino Alcantara, and they're moving on to what could be a fantastic PFL season for them as well as we look into the standings. Earlier on with Davao really moving up the standings so far. Now, let's talk about Philippine Army so far. You've mentioned that they've been firing blanks over the last few games that they've had. What do they need to adjust, and what can we expect from them after these tough losses that they've had in the first few weeks of the PFL season?
Well, not good viewing there, Jamer. You see the way that Army are losing their games. That 6-0 defeat to Stallion Laguna, where they completely lost the plot. They were back to their old aggressive ways, which led to many yellow cards for the team. I think initially they would probably want to have sort of discipline sa kanilang koponan, because really they cannot afford to go into a game with the mentality of trying to just hurt and kick people. They have to be disciplined enough to stay on the field with 11 men.
Well, they've had string of quite a few amazing performances, but again, a win is a must for them in this game. Now, let's talk about Davao Aguilas UMak FC. They've started quite slow with a couple of 1-0 wins against Mendiola FC 1991 and Manila Digger FC, but they've won 6-0 against Manila Monte, showing their might in this league. Now, what's going to be interesting here is that Ibrahim Endur has been a striker unlocked for Davao Aguilas UMak FC, knowing that his capabilities are something that could be unlocked as well because of the midfield that they currently have with Davao.
And against Army, you'd expect the striker, na si Endur, to really have a field day, and I expect him to score a lot of goals today. But Davao Aguilas will have has the sort of the luck of the draw in terms of the scheduling. They've gotten the teams that are on paper they should really go on and beat. And Army, unfortunately for Army, is also one of the teams that we expect Davao Aguilas to really go and beat today.
Well, that's something that we are really looking forward to in this game as we now go into our pitch side reporter, Nina Avia. Well, it's like what I mentioned, marami tayong i-expect dito sa game na to. Marami tayong nakikita na positive things for Philippine Army. It's just going to be a boost of morale if they get going early in the first 10 to 15 minutes against Davao Aguilas UMak FC. But for now, Davao is really looking to complete that string of wins that they have in this season. What would it take for Philippine Army to bring down a team like Davao Aguilas UMak FC in this match?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a very tough task for Army to defeat a team like Davao, a team that has aspirations for a title. You talk about their off-season signings. Daisuke Sato is their marquee signing. Of course, Davao Aguilas, with the addition of Sato to an already solid lineup, immediately makes them title contenders.
Well, Davao Aguilas really looking to be part of that top side of the standings with the likes of KFC Iloilo, who's going to be playing home tomorrow against a formidable Cebu FC. First home game that they'll be having out there, and you would expect that they would like to bounce back after that draw that they've had against Taguig FC. But looking into this game between Davao Aguilas UMak FC and Philippine Army, Davao would really like to go out guns blazing. Sabi nga ni Coach Aber before, it's just about them taking each and every game na parang hindi siya big game para sa kanila. Ito lang yung magiging mentality nila all throughout the season.
For sure, because Davao Aguilas now, again, with that schedule of theirs, they would really like to get the points in the bag as they gear up for bigger tests ahead.
Well, we are ready out here at the commentary. The players are ready. Let's see them walking out into the pitch.
Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let us welcome the teams of Philippine Army FC and Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
The drums are out for Davao UMak FC in this game, while the guns most likely are going to be out for the next 90 minutes for Philippine Army FC as we head into this crucial battle for both sides, with Philippine Army looking to bounce back after multiple defeats at the start of the season, while Daisuke Sato and Davao Aguilas UMak FC looking to build on this win that they would likely to get against Philippine Army FC to propel them to upper part of the standings.
When Daisuke Sato announced that he's coming back to play in the Philippines, there was a race for his signature, Jamer, and it is Davao Aguilas who was able to secure his signature. At eto nga siya, he is captaining their squad. What an addition to a Davao team that is already a title contender, and Sato just brings that so much experience to the team.
Well, Sato is just one guy that they would have to look into, but now the starting 11 for Coach Boogie Margarces, Philippine Army FC, they're going to be playing a 4-1-4-1 out here. We're going to be looking at Jalsor Soriano to be holding much of the attack coming from Davao Aguilas UMak FC, a seasoned veteran in the Philippines Football League, have been to many clubs as well in the PFL. What do you think will be the key for Philippine Army FC in this squad right now?
Well, it's number 7, si Ricardo Besite III. Number 7, that holding mid, he is important to the aspirations of Army to get their first 3 points in the league, because they're really struggling to get anything going para sa koponan ng Philippine Army.
Now, looking into the squad of Davao Aguilas UMak FC, Coach Aberosgal had plenty of cards to use in this game and into the previous matches that they've had. But so far, it's been really working well for them. A 4-3-3 formation with seeing the tip of the spear out there with Ibrahim Endur, who scored a hat-trick in their last match against Manila Monte FC.
Number 66, Daisuke Sato in the center of the park. A very strong Japanese influence as well, with another Sato, Shoma Sato. Number 40, shoring up the defense. On paper, Jamer, it's a mismatch. Davao Aguilas, of course, one of the title contenders against Army, still looking for their first 3 points. But football is a funny game, and let's see if Davao can live up to their potential and get the 3 points.
We have kickoff here with Davao Aguilas UMak FC starting from left to right with their traditional blue and red kits. Philippine Army sporting their traditional yellow and green kits as well here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. nakikita agad natin yung intention ng Davao from the back to the front, looking to get the early goal or the early advantage over Philippine Army FC kasi nakita nga natin yung spirit ng Philippine Army despite all of those defeats that they've had recently. They're still not backing down and they want to use that spirit as well to make up for the losses that they've had in the start of the season.
Well, Army, first 2 games sila, commentators have praised the way they've maintained their discipline in terms of the cards.
Ooh, that was quite a contact, but Dini Watara got all the ball there.
A strong goalkeeping from Otara, number 16. He was only going for the ball at some nervy moments, not the best of clearances from the defender. And si Daisuke Sato just leaving the ball to his goalkeeper. That was a strong hit there, Jamer.
Yeah, John Celis was actually wanting to go for that mistake that Davao has committed, but Dini Watara was just alert to the possibility. Yun nga lang, medyo malakas yung contact with John Celis.
So yun ang tinatawag na kung medyo inaantok-antok ka pa, nagising ka na nun sigurado.
Gising na ngayon si Celis doon. And it might play to their advantage na nabigyan siya ng wake-up call na ganong kaaga from Dini Watara as Philippine Army now looking to maintain possession of the ball, but commentators curse out there. Nakuha agad ng Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Possession-wise, Davao would like to hold on to the ball as much as they can kasi pwede na lang gamitin yung midfield nila dito to make some of those runs na gaya nga ng sinabi natin with Yosuke Onoki right on the get-go, almost hitting it to the frame of the goal but just hitting it over the bar.
Statement of intent para sa Davao Aguilas. To always fancy them when they are going forward. As we were saying kanina, si Army starting the league campaign with a newfound discipline. Pag sinabi mo kasing Philippine Army, you have this impression na physical sila maglaro and they usually have their fair share of yellow cards and sometimes red cards. But first 2 games, they were really disciplined. Ang problema lang, it all unraveled in that game against Stallion where maybe frustration, maybe fatigue, maybe the heat. Medyo naparami ng konti ang kanilang mga yellow cards at that time.
At siguro nung nangyari yung moment na yun, nasabi ng ating mga viewers na, ito yung Philippine Army na kilala ko. Ito yung Philippine Army na nasundan ko all throughout the early days of Philippine club football. But again, the game is ever progressing, the game is ever growing. Nakita naman natin na for the first few games, Philippine Army has been as disciplined as they can. Kaya nga nasabi mo, it's just possibly the frustration that they've had. And pwede nilang ibuhos yung frustration na yun dito as they aim for their first win in the Philippines Football League 2024 season.
Well, make no mistake, Army is a proud team made up of servicemen who represent the country. So hindi lang sila football players, no? They also have full-time duty in the Army.
As Philippine Army had a pocket of space out there, Davao Aguilas wasn't able to fill in that gap and find the opening themselves. John Celis with a great touch, passing it back to one of his teammates now, making the ball work for them. But John Celis was just not on the same wavelength as his teammate there in Gatinao. The through ball wasn't just connecting in that sequence.
Nagkaantay ng return ball si John Celis was not able to get to the end of that one. It's a good time actually to play football now. Sun is set. Medyo may konting hangin on the field.
Clarino through pass for Cartalarok. It's been pretty magnificent over the start of the few seasons, but not getting the first touch there. So the ball goes back to Philippine Army as they try to recompose from the back. A foul inside the box, and that's going to be called as a penalty.
A big call by the ref and a blow for Philippine Army. Look at the despair in the eyes of Jalo Soriano.
So have a look into that again. They were trying to play it out. Ibrahim Endur was forcing them to commit the mistake, but that was the contact that made our first referee, Samuel Mendoza, to call that in favor of Ibrahim Endur and Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, just at the edge of the area. The ref given no choice.
Ibrahim Endur now currently have the chance to increase his goal tally from 3 to 4. Sets himself up and scores easily, cool as a cucumber. And Ibrahim Endur scores the first goal of the match for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, cool as you like, si Ibrahim Endur, he was the reason why the penalty was called and given, and he was the one who finished it off. Minsan di mo kailangan ng power, no? Konting placing lang. And the keeper going the wrong way. And the commentator, the courtside commentator is really feeling it. So 1-0 for Davao.
It's 1-0 for Davao Aguilas UMak FC as we now turn to our pitch side reporter Nina Albia. First goal for Davao Aguilas UMak FC as we're still gathering some more details into the squad, but Ibrahim Endur already has allowed himself to score. I believe he's already at 4-goal tally now in the Philippines Football League. Former player of Maharlika FC, had quite a few frustrations before the start of the season. He was telling me that I just wanted the club who will be providing me the goals, and now he's with Davao Aguilas UMak FC doing his job, doing what he's really known for, and that is scoring goals. Now, this is the moment that we could look into another attack from Davao Aguilas UMak FC, but that was already thwarted by Philippine Army, and it allows us to go to our pitch side, Nina Albia.
Ryan and Jaymar, sabi niyo nga na it's uneven on paper as the winless Philippine Army goes up against the undefeated Davao Aguilas. Ryan, you mentioned they have this newfound discipline, and it's because of this new mindset that came from their successive losses. Sabi ng head coach ng Philippine Army, si Coach Boogie Margarce, na ito ay naging wake-up call sa kanila. On the other hand, we have the unbeaten Davao Aguilas who claims that the main factor to their success is their underdog mentality. They still consider themselves a small team, and this actually makes them work harder and avoid complacency. Jaymar and Ryan.
Thank you so much for that, Nina, as we were able to hear it from Nina. Wake-up call ang mga naging recent results for Philippine Army FC, but currently they're down 1-0 with just 8 minutes into this game. Ryan, what do you think about this mentality that Philippine Army has been building up on themselves?
Well, actually, I'm going to comment on the mentality ng Davao Aguilas because they say they're the underdog mentality espousers, no? Gusto nila ng underdog mentality going into each and every match. But I would say that this match, they are the heavy favorites to get the full 3 points.
Well, since they have actually rebuilt the squad after the Copa Paulino Alcantara, it seems like every game that they're going to go into with the newcomers here in the league or the returning teams in the league, makikita natin na talagang hindi underdog yung Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Although Coach Oberosgal really wants to think about him being one of the underdogs in the league, it really helps out to motivate his squad na it's no easy game for against any teams here in the PFL at nabibigyan sila ng motivation to score as much as they can against their opposition.
Sigurado yan because if you're coming into the game and your mentality is someone na dehado, na kailangan mong kumayod para ikaw ay manalo, it just adds that more grit to your squad that's already talented.
And just like that, Cartalarok was on the run once again, but just couldn't get the first touch in as John Kent De La Riarte was able to get to the ball and prevent a goal-scoring opportunity for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Philippine Army, on the other hand, looking to make use of this possession. They haven't had much time with the ball since we've kicked off this game between Davao and Philippine Army. And there is a foul call against Philippine Army in that sequence.
10 minutes in, it's all Davao. And if you are Army, you've got to be gutted with the way you've conceded the first goal
See this one again. Just a late tackle on Daisuke Sato there by Ryan Desena. Gives Davao Aguilas UMak FC the possession after that foul. Villarreal. Now, Clarino composing himself. Cartelarok leaves that for OJ Clarino. Gives it in for Ibrahim Endur. Just missing that goal, hitting that left post. But the danger is not yet over as Davao Aguilas UMak FC have a chance to fight for the ball, and they will win it through Richard Talarok. Got a scramble there on that far left side, but the referee says it's going to be a goal kick for Philippine Army.
Ang ganda ng build-up na yon. Just passes pinging left, right, back to the center. And Ibrahim denied by the post. A few inches in to the right. Would have been 2-0 for Davao.
Kung naiusog lang ng konti yung goal post in favor of Ibrahim Endur, could have been 2-0 and could have increased his tally to 5 in the league. But now, Philippine Army still trying to usher out this danger that is looming large with Davao Aguilas UMak FC fighting for each and every possession of that ball. Referee Samuel Mendoza just having to separate the two players out there. So throw in for Philippine Army FC. 12 minutes into this game, still at 1-0. Could have shaken off the pre-game jitters already for Philippine Army. They said that they had a wake-up call after a string of defeats that they've had. They have another one here with that goal from Ibrahim Endur as Davao Aguilas UMak FC has been called for an offside. If those defeats hasn't been enough of a wake-up call for them, Ibrahim Endur just given them another one here in this game with 8 minutes into that match.
Well, Army has played 4 and lost 4. They don't want to start the season on a 5-game losing streak. But then again, Davao Aguilas showing why they are title contenders.
Another incisive pass from Omaiso. Great pass there towards the path of Richard Talarok, but just couldn't convert. Goalkeeper really doing well to get out of his line and prevent Richard from pulling the trigger from there.
Yung first touch lang ni Talarok just let him down. He was on his way. And a lot of space on that left side for Davao Aguilas.
Besite with a long ball forward for Celis, but OJ Clarino's there to cover. Just easily ushering that out for a goal kick for Dini Watara. Shoma Sato now gives it to Omeiso. Richard Talarok on the ball looking to combine with his teammate, but it's easily intercepted by Philippine Army FC, who's looking for a counter-attack. Forced to take it back to their team captain, Ricardo Besite III. Spreads it out wide to the right side. Talarok is there to cover. Ibrahim Endur helping out in defense as well. The striker that he is, winning possession for Davao Aguilas UMak FC, and he's been freed right of the left side right away on the counter-attack. Good passing on that left side, Yosuke Onoki. Great defense from Philippine Army this time, and they concede a corner.
It's just the way that Davao is able to dispossess Army that easily leads to attack after attack for Davao Aguilas. Usually, when you talk about Army, alam mo talagang matitipuno, no? Mahirap kuhaan ng bola. But this is the last sequence of play. What a pass from OJ Clarino. And I don't think that Ibrahim wanted the ball to hit his chest. He wanted to have it with his foot. Nonetheless, the post saving the blushes of Army.
John Ken De La Riarte had something to do with that touch as well, as they are being pressured again. Now they send the ball forward, missing that touch. Dini Watara forced out of his line, defending it well, but the pressure stays on as Gatinao gets the ball away from Dini Watara. Watara in danger zone, forced to commit a tackle, and now concedes a corner.
Well, Otara in no man's land, he really had to make right that challenge because itong challenge na to was so far away. Questionable yung clearance na yun. No? He should have played safety first, and then another desperate lunge at the ball from Otara means that Army have a chance now to equalize.
Well, they say sometimes goalkeepers get crazy. That's a couple of crazy tackles from Dini Watara. Could have cleared the ball out and after the first tackle, but now Philippine Army FC with a corner. Can they make use of it? Jaso Soriano goes down. No foul called. It was just lip. Now Philippine Army looking to use this momentum for them to equalize. Good 1-2 passing, but just thwarted there by Omeso. They start again on the right side. Good cross inside, header in. But that's just going to go wide.
Well, a good sequence of play from Philippine Army. They're now threatening that right side of your screens of the field because this guy Otara is actually under duress.
And this is what you want to see with Philippine Army FC. You're down by a goal right now. You just want to, get back into attacking the opponents right now and make use of the scrambles that they've been having, especially na medyo nararatel dito si Dini Watara after that sequence of mistakes that happened in defense.
Talk about the mistakes of Otara. Well, hindi naman siya costly. Didn't cost them a goal yet. We talk about safety first. Yun ang in-espouse ng mga coaches na pagka tinuturuan yung mga young goalkeepers. When you have the ball in that area na no man's land talaga, better kick it out on the sidelines and cut your losses.
It's one thing to be a sweeper keeper, but it's another thing to sweep the ball out when in danger as OJ Clarino sends the ball forward, only for John Kent de la Riarte to hold on to that ball and not threaten the goal mouth in that process.
But you saw what he was trying to do there. He was trying to look for Ibrahim, the trailing runner. Combination yun looks to be the bread and butter of Davao Aguilas. Ball on the right side for OJ. Swinging in for an on-rushing Ibrahim, who looks to have found a home in Davao.
Yep. Nabanggit talaga sa atin ni Ibrahim Endur. I finally found the club that would really help me out in my career. And sana matulungan na rin ang Davao as they are now going for the counter-attack here right after getting the ball away from the opposition. On that left side, just couldn't make use of it, but they still have possession. Offside flag's gonna go up for Richard Talarok. Almost another threatening run.
A good tackle there from the defender. So really, all ball. It's a good, strong challenge. Yun ang mga nakita natin na gusto nating makita from the Army players. Just fair, strong challenges.
And clean tackles coming from Philippine Army. Nakita natin dun sa sequence na yon as now they would like to make use of this ball. Jalsor Soriano sends the ball forward. Just going out already on its way towards Jimuel Ariola.
We've covered our fair share of Army games, Jamer, and in the previous weeks, you just felt like Army was just short of fitness a little bit. And the first 19 minutes, at least in the lights, in the evening lights of Rizal Memorial Stadium, I feel like they gotten their groove back. Tong si Army, in terms of fitness, at least 20 minutes in. Because obviously at this level, you cannot have low fitness levels, especially against Davao Aguilas.
Yep, and especially you wearing the badge of Philippine Army FC, who's known to be quite physical in themselves. Nabanggit na nga natin in the past that the Philippine Army FC are one of the most physical teams, if not the most physical teams in local club football scene. And with this game under the floodlights here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium, that could just bring the groove back for the Army team out here as Ibrahim Endur wins the possession once again for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Looking to offload the ball for OJ Clarino, who's running down that right side, but he's going to be covered well by Jalsor Soriano as they win a goal kick. Jalsor Soriano has been part of the Philippine Army for a couple of years now, after some stints with KFC Iloilo in the past, which may have also groomed him into a player that he is right now. And he's also one of the key figures, the backline of Philippine Army FC. Just unfortunate that they have conceded that penalty in the early goings of the match. Besite gives the ball to Sai Villaseñor on the left side. Celis finds Ariola. Quick 1-2. Celis is the designated recipient there, but the ball has been kicked out of bounds by OJ Clarino. Celis gives it back to Besite. Cross inside the box, headed away by Shoma Sato. Danger's not yet over for Davao Aguilas UMak FC, as Philippine Army looking to make use of that ball on the right side. It's going to be a goal kick for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
The Army looking for a foul. At that time, hindi tinawag. But if there's anything we can deduce from the last 5 minutes of play, is that Army are no pushovers here, Jamer. Davao Aguilas are important that they do not look past Army as an automatic 3 points. Because if you do that, you will have dire consequences. Kasi Army are here and they're battling it out with Davao.
Well, they've shown their intention to make their comeback in the local club football scene, and they're making a testament right now. After conceding that goal over the last 15 minutes or so, they were able to hold down the pressure coming in from Davao Aguilas UMak FC, and they're also able to find a couple of chances themselves as they win the ball once again from that deep part of their box. Now they have a chance to make use of it. Celis holds the ball down. Ariola intercepted once again by Clarino. Shoma Sato to compose the backline and start another sequence of attack for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Sato with a long ball forward, just couldn't get that for Ibrahim Endur. Cart Talarok has been taken down, but no foul is called. Referee says, back up to your feet.
Importante for Army to contain that pace, because they have had good chances in the last 5 minutes.
Well, we could safely say that Philippine Army right now, despite not getting much of the ball, are following the pace of Davao Aguilas UMak FC in this game, just giving them the pressure that they need. As they win the ball once again, Ariola on the left side gives it in. Dini Watara with the wonderful save. But that's one example of what Philippine Army can do if they have possession of the ball, Ryan.
Good 1-2 combination on the left side for Army. And si Dini Otara had to make that save. So kung may wake-up call sa Army, ito may wake-up call na rin para sa Davao Aguilas, because they cannot take Army lightly. The Army are here to get the full 3 points themselves.
Well, the park ranger of Mount, Dini Watara, is now up to his feet, as that wake-up call from Philippine Army FC almost resulted to an equalizer, as Davao have another chance here on the attack, but the offside flag is going to be up. So possession goes back to Philippine Army FC.
Anytime you play against a team that is on the bottom half of the table, you have to wake yourselves up and give yourselves enough motivation to say that, you know what, even if kalaban namin medyo nakakababa sa ranking, doesn't mean it's an automatic 3 points. Kailangan tayong lumaban. And I believe that Coach Abner would, Aber would have drilled that into the Davao Aguilas team, because, again, Army are no pushovers here.
Well, again, Army, one of the teams returning in the local club football scene after their absence of quite a few years at the top flight. Now they're in the Philippines Football League, looking to make a statement for themselves that we may have been out for a few years, but the spirit is still there. We want to battle it out against the best of the best in the country in terms of club football. they may have just been on the unfortunate side of things in terms of the first few matches that they've had in the season. But if they could bounce back against Davao Aguilas UMak FC, that would make a statement across the league. We've had a fair share of surprises already in the league with Don Bosco Garelli giving Mendiola FC kind of a wake-up call of themselves with a 4-2 win. And who knows, we might get another surprising result here in this game between Philippine Army and Davao.
So look at the replay of the chance. Good ball to the left, and would say a bit more power, a bit more placing ng konti. Just out of the reach of Otara, would have had a legitimate chance at goal.
Roinic Bernardo had a chance there. Ibrahim Endur again putting on the pressure on John Kent de la Riarte, but was able to contain that pressure himself. Talking about that last attempt from Roinic Bernardo. Could have controlled it, could have taken quite a powerful shot on Dini Watara, but nonetheless, that's going to boost the morale of their squad as they may have been down by a goal here, but they are seeing a couple of chances of themselves against Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, that goal by Davao was through a penalty. An error as well by the Army, but they gave away the ball and immediately fouled yung Davao Aguilas forward na si Ibrahim. Very early on in the game, I must say. It's just the 6th minute.
Baka gusto lang nila gumawa ng sarili nilang wake-up call dito rin sa laro na to with that penalty call, as they've tried once more with the through pass, not finding anybody up front for Philippine Army FC. Shauma Sato now looking to start another attack from the back. Sato onto the left side. Deflection from a player in blue and red that goes in favor of Philippine Army FC. Halfway point of the first half, we could say that right now Philippine Army FC are kind of getting into the groove of passing the ball amongst themselves, keeping the possession when they can against Davao Aguilas UMak FC, and trying to find a couple of chances as well on themselves to equalize into this match. Mahaba-haba pa to. We still have about 25 minutes or so before halftime, and they're really showing some promise in the attacks that they're making right now.
As well as keeping possession of the ball, Philippine Army. And no pressure from Davao. They let the Army have the ball.
Last report that we've had, it's about 52-48 in favor of Davao Aguilas FC. So virtually level in terms of the possession. But now a chance for Davao Aguilas. Great defense there. Even if John Kent de la Riarte has been forced out by Yosuke Onoki, the backline is there to help out and prevent that goal. Now long ball forward, looking for John Celis, but Clarino is there to cover. Soriano finds Celis on the left side. He's been threatening for a few minutes now on this side of the field. Celis turns, dances, finds Soriano at the back line, looking to reset and switch the play. Army on the attack. Not the pass that they were looking for. Jomari Sapal was able to get to the ball. Jalsor Soriano clears it out for a throw-in for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, they've conceded the early goal, but in 23 minutes hence, Army has actually looked solid, thwarting Davao and creating chances themselves. Ang papansin ko lang sa Army is that they tend to lose the ball in the midfield. At pag nakuha ng Davao yung bola, diretso kaagad ang bola natin ng Star Polaris. Sa goal.
Offside for Ibrahim Endur as he receives the ball. Just couldn't get the timing right for Ibrahim Endur there, who's currently down. Take a look into that through ball once more for Ibrahim Endur.
A magnificent ball from Sato. But offside lang ang tinawag. But if they can time that run right, acres of space for Ibrahim to work with.
Ibrahim Endur currently limping, but will be making his way again into threatening Philippine Army as our first referee Samuel Mendoza holds the ball. Star Polaris, the official match ball of the Philippines Football League.
And you saw a good shot of the coach ng Philippine Army na si Boogie Margarce. Of course, yung mga OG fans of the Ascals will remember Boogie. Kasama yan. Nila Ian Araneta and sila Phil Young husband in the Ascals squad. Now he's the coach of Philippine Army.
At nung nabanggit nga natin, Boogie Margarce, medyo nagtayuan lang yung mga balahibo ko sa aking katawan dahil yun nga, part ng original Ascals na ngayon isang coach dito sa Philippines Football League. It just goes to show that, talagang they want to give back to the community that gave them what could mean everything for them. And with Boogie Margarce coaching the Philippine Army FC, he's just wanting to pass on the knowledge that he's earned in the past through his international career. And so Ariola was called for an offside in that sequence. Just wasn't able to time the ball right.
Talking about Boogie Margarce, we had a good chat a few days ago. Sabi nga niya, binibiro ko, sabi ko, Coach, parang pwede ka pa maglaro. Sabi niya, hindi ako kasama sa lineup eh. Which means that if had he been in the lineup, pwede rin pala siya maglaro.
Kung nabilang siya dun sa squad nila, malamang sa malamang playing coach itong si Coach Boogie Margarce. But again, di nga nasama sa squad, so it's gonna be a miss for our new football fans. As Celis on the run on the left side gives a cross in. Shoma Sato is alert to the possibility. Ball in the middle, gets it through. Dini Watara called into action. Ryan Anthony Desena's touch was just quite disappointing for him. He's already priming himself to pull off the trigger, but the final touch wasn't really making it well for them. As we talked about possession earlier on, Ryan, 55-45 now in favor of Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Again, virtually level in terms of the possession rate out here. And again, it's about what you make use of the ball or what you make use of the possession that you have rather than the amount of the possession that you have with the ball.
Almost equal in terms of possession. Davao letting Army have the ball in the last 15 minutes or so. But it's in these areas where Davao intercepts the ball where they are more dangerous, because when they do get the ball in that area where they lost the ball, mabilis na lang silang matake, and then they attack in numbers as well.
They lost the ball after Ryan Desena's tackle there on Cartalarok. Quite a bit late on the tackle. I'd say lucky enough to get away with just a caution there from the referee. Long ball forward in. Oh, Jake Clarino on the ball. Finds Cartalarok on the right side. Talarok threading it through, looking for a teammate. Just couldn't find a teammate on time as Jalsor Soriano clears it out for another corner for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Around 10 minutes before halftime, still Philippine Army FC, medyo na-frustrate nila dito ng konti ang Davao Aguilas UMak FC with all of the chances that are coming their way. Nailalabas nito Philippine Army yung mga chances na yon. But through this corner, let's see what they can make up of it. Omaiso sends one in. De La Riarte Just let that slip through his gloves, limping a bit after that attempt to hold on to the ball as Davao Aguilas UMak FC have another possession to make use of. Onoki wasn't able to get the ball away from Philippine Army there, forcing another goal kick. At ito nga si De La Riarte mukhang may iniinda as we take a look into that last tussle for the ball.
And what an addition Daisuke Sato brings to the Davao Aguilas. Just another dimension to the Davao Aguilas. And of course, Daisuke Sato, napakaraming experience yan playing abroad. Of course, he's had stints in Indonesia and I believe in Romania.
He's kind of a rock star in Indonesia with his last club. I think that was Persib Bandung. And now going into the Philippines Football League, there were many clubs that actually courted him, but his heart went to Davao Aguilas UMak FC as he wanted to represent his mother's hometown. At like what you've mentioned, great addition for Coach Aberosgal's team, part of that rebuilding squad that they've had, and so far doing pretty good in the start of the Philippines Football League as they win possession once more. Cart Talarok with the ball.
And talking about Sato, is one person that I think a lot of players look up to and respect. So if you're on the field with him as a young player, as an upcoming player, you look at him and say, you know what, if I want to be anywhere near the level of him, this is the level I need to be. The level of training I have to do. It's an all-around good experience for people having Sato on the squad.
A couple of offside calls out here. One on Ibrahim Enduro on the right side. Celis has been caught by the offside flag as well on the left-hand side of the pitch as we take a look into that once more, Ryan.
Offside. It's very clear and an easy decision for the linesman.
Way too early for that pass. Itong si John Celis. But you've mentioned about Daisuke Sato and the level that he's been playing at. Coach Aberosgal can force the narrative that there are no big players in his team. But when you look into player number 66 out there on the field wearing that captain's armband, you know for a fact that there is a big player there. And Daisuke Sato, as Talarok chips that one in for the second goal of the match for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. The jewel that Coach Aberosgal has unearthed in the previous Copa Paulino Alcantara edition now scores the second goal for Davao Aguilas UMak FC 7 minutes before heading into the halftime break.
Well, it's a comedy of errors here, Jamer. The Army unable to clear their lines, and that is criminal defending. Someone call the police. Kasi hindi pa pwede ang ganyang klaseng pagdedepensa because the Army keeper just giving the ball straight to the Davao Aguilas forward, and of course there's only going to be one result there. Talarok making it 2-0 for Davao.
Well, you could credit that assist to John Ken De La Riarte. Like what you've mentioned, call the military police. That's criminal defending, just giving the ball away to the opposition. And with a threat like Cart Talarok, he's just going to chip that ball over you. And rightly so, gets the second goal of the match and have a 2-0 cushion now here in this game.
If you look at the way that the Army has conceded, yung una sa penalty, pangalawa sa error ng goalkeeper, you've got to be disappointed in Jamer because for the most part of the first half, toe-to-toe naman ang laro ng Army kontra sa Davao. They've played as equals, even if the scoreline does not reflect it.
Well, football is a team game. If your strikers and midfielders are working really well, the backline and the goalkeeper should follow suit. And so far, Philippine Army is kind of disjointed at the back as Ibrahim Enduro has been freed up with that dummy run. And John Ken De La Riarte just making up for his mistake and was able to block that shot from Ibrahim Endur.
Pero nakita mo yung dummy run na yun, ano? It's a good awareness from the Davao Aguilas teammates that merong tumatakbo sa likod ko. So we've done this in practice. I'm gonna leave the ball for you. Hindi nga lang pumasok at that time around. And again, they lose the ball in a very dangerous area.
Jomani Sapal gives the ball to Unoki on the left side. Gets past the keeper. Sends it forward for Ibrahim Endur. Kulang lang sa height yung cross from Unoki. And Philippine Army trying their best to regain possession. And they will as they are looking to send Celis free. But Clarino is there to cover once more for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, it's a recurring theme here, Jamer. They lose the ball, Army, in such dangerous areas. And Davao has been very quick to take advantage. Even if yung goal sabi mo, it's through an error by the goalkeeper. But I would argue that it's a very well-deserved 2-goal lead just by the way that Army is losing the ball repeatedly in dangerous areas.
And it's how Davao Aguilas UMak FC making use or making them pay for those mistakes as they keep the possession really well. Look at this ball again from Cartalarok to Ibrahim Endur. Just couldn't find the first touch, but finally some light at the end of the tunnel for that defense of Philippine Army FC as they clear that ball out of danger. Clarino on the right side, sending a ball forward once more. Deflection from Philippine Army. Richard Talarok trying to win possession, but Philippine Army stays with it. This is a chance for Philippine Army just to get a goal back and give themselves quite a momentum heading into halftime as we're 3 minutes away from it. Besite with the ball forward. Through pass, good one into the middle. But again, intercepted right at the midfield, right at the heart of the midfield by Davao as they free themselves up again on another counterattack. Unoki still on the ball is Unoki. Strong challenge there. You would say na sinubukan niyang gamitin. He's pleading his case.
Ito yung sinasabi natin, Jamer, about the discipline. The moment you are getting frustrated, you lose that discipline and it leads to bad things. Itong sinasabi natin, this is more than a shoulder barge. It's a body check. And it's a sign of frustration. And when you are Davao, you see that, alam mo, napipiko na yung kalaban. So you try to now put your foot on the gas and to give more.
Parang sa boxing lang yun. Nakikita mo na naiinis na yung kalaban mo na hindi mo tinatamaan. At tapos binody check kang gano'n. Tapos nabigyan sila ng foul. Ngayon, ito na yung advantage ng Davao. They have the 2-goal advantage. Now they're getting the mental advantage as well over Philippine Army FC as they try to make something out of this free kick. Omaeso. The card's going to be brandished out here by the referee. The recipient of the yellow card. That's Jimuel Ariola, who's not even part of the wall and not even part of the one who committed the foul out there. Napakaaga pa para sa kanila for these frustrations to sink in, knowing that they still have 45 minutes to turn things around. Medyo maaga pa para sa kanila tong nangyari na to.
Let's look at the replay. And probably a few choice words if we were to guess.
Free kick delivered in. And Unoki, through a deflection, scores the 3rd goal of the match for Davao Aguilas UMak FC as they're now trying to open the floodgates themselves. Good delivery from Omaeso from that free kick.
And the floodgates have well and truly opened para sa men in blue and red. At first you don't succeed, you try and try again. This is the second free kick. And it is Shoma Sato, the number 40, rising head and shoulders above everyone. Oh no, check that. Is the number 10.
Yosuke Onoki just getting that favorable deflection for himself. Give credit as well to number 40, Shoma Sato, giving the pressure there, allowing his teammate Onoki to have acres of space inside the box and scored that third goal of the match for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Ito na naman nakita mo, Ryan, they've lost the ball again in midfield and right on the get-go counterattack for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
And another Davao Aguilas man on the pitch. Ito yung sinasabi natin, if you lose your discipline, everything else follows. And as much as we admire how Army has done well in the first two matches, it's when they are losing. It's when their character begins to show. And unfortunately, it's not a good showing, Jamer, to put it mildly. Because napakaraming yellow cards in the last sequence of play, and you can probably bet a few choice words as well being exchanged on the field.
Few years back, you could say na, hindi, physical lang talaga yung Philippine Army. But no, the game has progressed so much that those physicalities turn into some type of provocation from teams out here as another chance. But Shoma Sato is going to be caught by the offside flag there.
Well, Shoma Sato in the mood. He scored off a free kick contra sa Digger. And yeah, that was clear as day. Offside ang tawag.
So a couple of goals, or 3 goals already for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. It has been kicked off by Ibrahim Endur through the penalty spot, followed by a couple of goals from the open play and a mistake as well from John Kent de la Riarte. So far, it's looking pretty good for Coach Aberusga's squad here in the first 45 minutes of the action out here, Ryan.
This is the second goal, the gift by the keeper straight to Talarok. To be fair, he had to guide the ball to the back of the net. But you don't give that gift to Davao Aguilas and not pay for it. Second goal by Davao. And this one is the third off of a free kick. And Shoma Sato was there, but it goes through the legs of the number 10.
That's number 10, Yosuke Onoki, who was credited that goal. But after 45 minutes, it's been all Davao Aguilas FC. Ibrahim Endur in the 6th, Cartalarok on the 39 and 45th for Onoki. 3 goals for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. And we will be back after this break.
national team play, the whole country is focused. Every grandmother, every child is proud when they hear the anthem and when the country come on the pitch. And for me, be part of such a national team representing a country is the highest as a coach, but also as a player you can achieve.
I'm very proud to be Filipino. I've never looked back and regretted the decision that I made to play for the Philippines. I believe that me, along with many other names on the list, have progressed Filipino football, and I want to do that for as long as I can throughout the rest of my career.
I'm an ambitious coach. When I go somewhere, I want to be the best. I want to achieve goals, and all the people around me have the same goal. And we want to go to the Asia Cup in 2027. That's the next edition in Saudi Arabia. We want to go there also with ambition, not only to be there, but also try to get past the first round and to reach further and to show in Asia that we have the potential. You have to have a dream in life, not only in football. And if you have that dream, you have to work for it. You have to make your development, you have to live for that dream. You have to leave certain things and to achieve your goals.
For me, my goal is to make a difference. May it be to inspire the new generation to do better with the results, or to actually do something at the moment and give the country a win, or even give them the best rankings that they could have.
We have to be all humble and respect that we are representing the Philippines. I think you got to understand that you're not just playing for yourself, that you're playing for a whole country. I don't worry about the future. About when you talk passion, if you talk like all those things, they're good boys here. And as long as everybody understands that we're one family, and the moment you're here, you got to fight for everyone, I think it'll be okay.
When people write me off or people write the team off, I want to prove them wrong and say that no, we can, and it's something I believe in. I think that's what it comes down to. If I didn't believe in this team and the way they want to move forward, I wouldn't be here. That for me speaks a lot. I want to prove everyone wrong, and I believe that this country, this team have got a lot more to offer still.
I expect the same everyone else, all right? Whether you're on the bench, whether you're the staff, whether you're in the starting lineup, we give everything tonight. We stick together no matter what, and same again, we leave the stadium with our heads held high, all right? All right.
I think sometimes the belief was not there. Philippines has long thought from we are not a football nation compared to the neighbor countries. We are not the same standard. I think we have to stop that belief. We have to start believing that Philippines is a football nation with huge potential. We need to get sponsors on board, we need to get government on board, we need to get support of fans, and we need to believe that we can be competitive with every nation on the continent, and that we also can achieve our goals on the highest level of football.
Go out, play with your heart, play with your soul, play for the fans, believe in it, fight for it, and go out for it. Do it together, guys. We can do it. Good luck, come on!
Masra was incredible. I've in 12 years not experienced something like that.
I don't think I've ever experienced playing with that big of a crowd. And there were 65,000 people there because they were supporting their national team, and it's pretty much what any national team player would want, is just to have the entire nation right behind you, supporting you and cheering you on.
Football for me is the biggest sport in the world. Obviously I probably have a little bit of a bias towards it. I think Filipinos are developed and born to play football. I really do.
If Philippines can play in the biggest sport in the world, because don't doubt, football is the only and biggest sport in international world. All over the world, people kick a ball, every child play football, and has also a huge impact on the people of a country. You bring the people together, united the country, everyone is standing as one behind the team. We saw it already a little bit when our female national team was representative in the World Cup. If the men team can achieve similar goals, I'm 100% sure it will have a huge impact on the population, economically-wise, political-wise, and also to unite the country. Believing in it, living the dream, and working very hard for the dream will be very important.
always trying to put me down on the ground, but I haters be jealous cause I'm the right in their minds. In their minds, screw up with me, boy, don't go crying. In their minds, come on at me, boy, there's a fight. In their minds.
It's halftime here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium as Davao Aguilas UMak FC leads 3-0 over Philippine Army FC. Now let's head over to Nina Alvia for our halftime report.
Earlier, when I asked Coach Aberosgal of Davao Aguilas UMak what other goals they have aside from winning the championship, he said that he just wants them to remain consistent as they have been, with the score being 3-0 right now. Furthermore, sinabi niya na sobrang saya siya with the culture that they have created. Maganda ang environment, everyone listens, no one is late sa training, and they always are willing to help each other out. Coach Aber prides himself in not relying on specific players, but he relies on the whole team and their chemistry, and actually on each of them. So stay tuned to see if they'll close this game out or if Philippine Army will pull up some points tonight.
Well, that was quite a talk from Coach Aberosgal. Thank you so much, Nina, for the halftime report. But so far, things are working to the letter for Coach Aberosgal and Davao Aguilas UMak FC as we look into the stats of the half out there. Not much difference in terms of possession, but the thing that we want to look into are the shots that they're firing against Philippine Army FC. 7 shots on goal, 5 of them being on target. And you could really see the intention of Davao Aguilas UMak FC to make themselves not the underdogs for all of the games here in the Philippines Football League, but to be one of the threats for the championship title against all of the other teams at the top part of the table.
One telling stat there is 5 fouls para sa Army, 0 for Davao Aguilas UMak. You know, when you're facing Philippine Army, alam mo you're gonna be in for a battle, and that 5 fouls, I'm sure ramdam na ramdam ang each and every one of that fouls ng Davao Aguilas UMak. But 57% possession has been translated to the 3-goal lead. Although mostly I would say that the first 2 goals are gifts from Davao, from Army to Davao.
Well, when the game gets physical, sometimes yung winning team are, sumusunod siya dun sa pagiging physical ng laro. But looking at the foul counts out here, Davao Aguilas UMak FC has been really disciplined so far in the first 45 minutes of the match. As we take a look at some of the highlights out here, with Ibrahim Endur almost scoring his second goal from the open play there. And the runs that Davao Aguilas UMak FC has been making against Philippine Army FC, it's really exploiting those pockets in defense of Philippine Army. On the other hand, they've had plenty of chances of their own as well against Dini Watara in the first 45 minutes. Something that they could look forward into the second half.
Well, good 1-2 by Celis. And yung tira na yun, no? Just straight at the keeper. A bit more power, a bit more placing. Would have been a goal for Army.
This is what we were talking about earlier, Ryan. The feeling of having a teammate right behind you with that dummy run, allowing Ibrahim Endur to pull off the trigger. Just not enough power that could make it into his second goal of the game. But things are looking pretty well for the boys in blue and red for Coach Aberosgal in this game against Philippine Army FC. 3-0, 45 minutes left to play.
This halftime is powered by 8 Cuts Burgers. Get your onion rings sa labas sa Rizal Memorial Football Stadium.
Natakam tuloy ako bigla doon.
Oo. Masarap yung 8 Cuts Burgers.
Habang nakakatakam yung 8 Cuts Burger, nakakatakam din itong laro natin as we have a couple of substitutions out here ready for Philippine Army FC. Coach Boogie Margarce may have said enough is enough for John Kent De La Riarte as he's looking to replace him with another goalkeeper in Mark Anthony Badia. And it seems like Roy Kent Badia is coming in as well into this game, replacing Joshua Gatinao. So a midfield replacing a forward.
Substitution for Philippine Army FC. Player number 24, Joshua Gatinao, replaced by player number 31, Roy Kent Bidia.
But that's the confirmation of the substitutions that we have out here. We have a new goalkeeper between the sticks. Mark Anthony Badia, who's listed as a midfielder in their squad, is suiting up as their goalkeeper for the remainder of the match as Philippine Army FC gets us going in the second half. Plenty of chasing, plenty of comebacks for them to mount in the next 45 minutes. Let's see how things will pan out for the armed forces, Philippine Army. Mesite takes it back to Mark Anthony Badia for his first touches of the ball. Guys, Gisado brings it down for Omaeso. Cart Talarok for Unoki. Jomari Sapal blocked there by Jalsor Soriano, but Unoki is still here fighting for the possession and he wins it. Gets past two defenders, make it three. Just couldn't find the teammate as he missed that pass. And team captain Ricardo Besita III clears the ball out for the boys in yellow and green. Richard Talarok dispossessed. Now Philippine Army have a chance of their own to snatch a goal back and give themselves some momentum in the second half. Pass to the back, looking to compose themselves. Quite frantic few first 2 minutes of the second half here for Philippine Army FC as Davao Aguilas UMak FC looks to pick up where they left off in the first 45 minutes of the game.
Interesting yung subs ng Philippine Army because not too sure if si Badia has had goalkeeping experience. He's listed as a midfielder, as you said. But again, yung error ng keeper na yun just gifted Davao their second goal.
Good chasing here for Philippine Army as Patrick John Bernarte just clears the ball out. So matetest ngayon itong si Mark Anthony Badia of his skills between the sticks. And again, Coach Boogie Margarce just saying enough is enough with these mistakes coming from John Ken De La Riarte. And let's move on and let's see if we get a better second half with a new guy between the sticks for us. Nice Kisato opts to bring it back for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Shoma sends the ball forward for the on-rushing Richard Talarok, but just couldn't get the proper height and speed of the ball there. Ball stays in play. Not anymore, says the referee as a foul is called. First foul of the match for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Another interesting substitution there for Philippine Army FC with Joshua Gatingao checking out. A forward being replaced by a midfielder there. One would question the changes that they're doing, if it's tactical or if it's more on the fitness side. With Roy Kent Badia coming in. So Davao right now taking some time, but being pressured. Desena asking for a foul there, but nothing has been given. Sato sends the ball forward for Ibrahim Endur. Couldn't get the first touch with his chest. Soriano clears it out. Sato with the ball.
Oh.
Strong tackle once more from Philippine Army, but they're freeing themselves up on the right side with OJ Clarino. OJ finds Cart. 1-2 between the two of them. Cart Talarok gets past one, dribbles past two, looking for that cross. Short one for Inoki, but the defender is there to cover. Pressure stays on as Clarino forces them to pass the ball back. At hindi makabuelo ang Philippine Army with the pressure that is being put on by Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Just the way that their wingers are gliding towards the goal. Talk about Unoki, talk about Talarok. It's very easy for Davao to bring the ball forward.
Another foul is called against Philippine Army deep into that far right side of the pitch. This most certainly looked like a corner for them.
Well, Davao would have seen the big score lines ng kanilang title rivals. Stallion in particular scoring a 13-0 victory. So they know that kung goal difference lang ang pag-uusapan, talagang dehado sila. Though they know that if they can match their goal difference, it will go a long way in helping them get their title. That's why they're trying to hunt for more goals here.
Philippine Army not wanting to be one of those stat sheet padder for the teams, the upper part of the standings, because of the goal differences that they've been getting lately. Pinakamasakit nga yung 13-goal thrashing from Stallion Laguna FC. And so far, they're 3 goals down against Davao Aguilas UMak FC, who could have done more in the first half and looking to add more to it here in the second. Short cross from that free kick, but they retain possession. Talarok. Roy Kent Bedia couldn't get the ball. Shot from distance, looking to test the makeshift goalkeeper out here of Philippine Army. Soriano, ibabalik ang bola kay Mark Anthony Bedia. Good show of support as well here from Ultras Davao. Few of them coming in here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium, starting to add to their numbers. They've started their campaign to grow their fan base dito sa Manila. They've had plenty of supporters back in the days when they were playing in Davao, and they're looking to add more to it with their Manila-based fans. Sato taken down. Another foul called against Philippine Army. That was against Celis, and again, the frustrations. You could see the frustrations and the action of the players of Philippine Army in this game.
And if you're Davao Aguilas, you just pick on that. You say, you know what, medyo mentally, lamado na tayo eh. Sa score sheet lamang na nga tayo, sa mental side, lamang pa rin tayo.
It's like adding insult to the injury ang ginagawa ngayon ng Davao Aguilas FC with all of these kind of plays. Sato asking his opposite number to get back up as the physicality are now ramping up here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium. This is the kind of things that you don't want to see here, Ryan. This kind of clashes, off-the-ball clashes, the unnecessary second actions of the players on the pitch.
Right in front of the Army bench as well. And the referee has a very interesting decision to make here.
One would argue that if there's something that you're looking for, or if you're looking for someone to have quite a respect into the game, as we look into some of those physicalities, the fouls there, Sato with a little bit of a push, which might have instigated what transpired next. A push from Sumailo on Richard Talarok there. And that's just a follow-up of the frustrations that they've been getting in this game. Down 3-0 and feeling that the calls are not going into their side. But again, with them being part of the armed forces, with them being part of Philippine Army FC, one would expect that they're going to be the ones to enforce the kind of respect, the kind of discipline that you're looking for in a football match.
That is exactly correct. And the referee has to take hold of this match before it gets away from him. Has to instill discipline. Alam mo itong Davao Aguilas, doon rin sila eh. They know that napipikon na yung Philippine Army and trying to get into the heads of Army. Problema, Army is, if you would pardon the word, is falling into that trap.
Nakita natin in the previous edition of the Copa Paulino Alcantara where Davao made it to the finals. Coach Aberosgal, even he himself down the touchline, have that kind of antics himself sometimes, more particularly on their game against Cebu in the semifinals second leg. At nakikita natin ngayon that his players are also following suit as Ibrahim Endur with a shot just fizzing off wide the right post. Although there are calls for an offside there from the fans here at the Rizal Memorial Stadium.
I thought it was offside because I don't know if you can see from the angle here. Look at the far left, Ibrahim. I thought it was an offside. The flag stayed down, but thankfully for everyone, at hindi pumasok yung bola na yon.
Inches in, inches off in terms of offside, but Ibrahim Endur just couldn't get that on target.
Well, Davao almost with the perfect response to these Army antics. But Army has now have to keep their head on their shoulders, Jamer. Hindi pwede yung dadaanin mo sa init ng ulo at sa pikon. Hindi na nga mainit yung panahon eh. So, you know, you just have to play your game. Physical kung physical, but do not let Davao get into your head because the moment you do that, 3-0 na nga sa scoreline, 1-0 pa sa mental game. No? So, you know, it's never gonna be a winning game for Army the moment you lose your cool.
Okay lang yung banter from here and there inside the pitch, but letting them live rent-free inside your head while the game is going on is something that they want to prevent, knowing that they are trailing by 3 goals here. Bedia forced to clear the ball out. Sumailo against Richard Talarok. Ball goes out.
Well, Sumailo has been really hot under the collar. Sumailo. And the Talarok has been going at it.
Richard knows that he could get into the head of Sumailo right now, and he's been doing that over the last 2 minutes. And Sumailo, after losing that ball, pushing Richard Talarok again. He already got a yellow card for that, I believe. And he's asking for another one as Philippine Army looking to win the ball. Sato sends it back to his defense. Ibrahim Endur checking what's the next move of Bernate. Mark Anthony Bedia clears the ball out for Philippine Army FC. Onoki with a throw. Sapal inside with a shot. Grazing that right side of the post once more.
Well, why not? Yung mentality siguro ng number 8 ng Aguilas na si Jomari Sabal. Give it a shot. And action has been fast and furious here, Jamer.
58 minutes into this game. Still 3-0 in favor of Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Sapal with a chance earlier on. Jomari Sapal, one of the holdovers from their past season squad, opted for a new contract for Davao Aguilas UMak FC to join Coach Aberosgal's journey as Ibrahim Endur is caught by the offside flag once again. He's been trying to time those runs. We've seen this in the first half. It's just that he's quite fast or quite early for those through balls coming from the midfield.
No doubt on that call by the linesman. So si Ibrahim still looking for his second goal. He did score the first goal today via penalty, which he earned. Ito yung mga sinasabi natin, losing the ball cheaply, Philippine Army, you don't let your defense rest and immediately put the pressure back on your team to defend.
And you're also allowing Davao Aguilas UMak FC to create their chances, but they're caught by the offside flag again on that sequence. But you're giving Davao Aguilas UMak FC to rest at the same time, compose the next threat that they're going to make against you as they lose the possession once again. And a through ball looking for Unoki. It clears the offside on that process.
Problema lang si Davao is not able to capitalize on these errors. Army basically just shifting possession back. Davao, ito yung bola. What do you do with it? And the answer was, well, we get offside. But if you just take care of the ball, you have more chances, Davao Aguilas.
Into the hour mark, Philippine Army FC with possession of the Star Polaris, the official match ball of the Philippines Football League. Through ball or a direct pass. And this was a through ball for Unoki, but caught by the offside trap of Philippine Army FC. Now they're relying on that offside trap.
Nakita mo Army playing a very high line now. And it's almost playing with fire. But if somehow Ibrahim, Enoki, and all the rest of the Davao Aguilas are able to time their runs better, napakaraming espasyo sa likod ng back four ng Philippine Army. A very high line now for the Philippine Army defense.
If they can't get Davao Aguilas UMak FC in types of defense that they're trying to build, if they could see that Davao is always on the run, they're going to opt for the offside trap as they force another one there. Soriano to Besite. Earlier on in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game, Philippine Army FC was able to put up a couple of chances of their own. But so far in the second half, they've been having troubles in terms of making it into the penalty box as a yellow card has been given. Let's see that sequence again. A clash between Sato and player number 21, Roynick Bernardo.
Well, si Bernardo wasn't going for the ball at all. Kaya naman nabigyan ng dilaw.
Going for the man. Carino with a shot. Bedia. First save of the game for him. So even if he's registered as a midfield, he's showing to us right now that he's capable of stepping up as a makeshift goalkeeper for Philippine Army. As we turn to Nina Alvia for our pitch side report.
Jaymar and Ryan, nabanggit nyo nga na the Philippine Army is known to be one of the more physical teams. Nakita naman ngayon na they really don't back down. However, head coach Bui acknowledged that the constant challenge they've been facing since the beginning of the season are the injuries of his players. Alam niya they have to change it up, pero for now, he heavily relies on those recovered to improve communication on the pitch and simply focus on the match at hand. Sa kabila naman, sabi ni Coach Aber ng Davao Aguilas that their preparations and trainings mostly focus on running the right systems, knowing the game models, and keeping their behavior in check. The only thing he wants to achieve tonight is to make sure they come out of this match with 3 points regardless of the scoreline. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Nina. Well, they're already struggling in terms of the players that they have on the pitch, using the players who just recovered from injury. But the physicality that they're showing right now against Davao Aguilas UMak FC, one would say na it would take its toll on those players as well na are recovering from their injuries, knowing na nagiging sobrang physical din sila sa laro kontra Davao.
Well, it's another aspect to the Army game. Marami pala silang iniindang mga injuries, and that's a good report from our colleague Nina. As if you put it in context, undermanned itong ating Philippine Army team. But to your point, importante rin that they preserve the health of those who are available. But one telling point in the report ni Nina was that for Davao, just keep their behavior in check. I think that's a very important thing to note, because in the face of provocation, ikaw, if pinoprovoke ka ng kalaban mo, you keep your behavior in check, you You try to instill discipline in your squad, and I think that's important because not only do you prevent injury, you also prevent yourself from getting unnecessary cards.
It's more of work for 90 minutes plus for Coach Aberuzgal and then celebrate after the final whistle or react after the final whistle. And why shouldn't they? They're leading 3-0 right now against Philippine Army. Things are really looking well. It's on the upside for Davao Aguilas UMak FC, and they're just proving to us that they're no longer in that part wherein they have to think about themselves as the underdogs in the Philippines Football League. They're one of the strongest teams that we have to look out for the rest of the season.
And despite their self-proclaimed mentality, underdog mentality, which you will see when you check the Instagram of Daisuke Sato. Lagi may hashtag yan, hashtag underdog mentality. Which is, if you put it in another way, it's also good because, again, it means that kailangan mong kumayod, no? Just to be able to match with these guys here on the field.
And you're not taking any teams lightly. Yun yung message na gusto ipadating sa atin ni Coach Aberuzgal, that they're not taking any teams lightly, be it the top 4 teams in the Philippines Football League, be it the bottom 4 teams in the league. They're taking no prisoners, and they're just playing their game to the letter, to the script that they have set for the 2024 season of the Philippines Football League. And right now, it's really working well for Coach Aberuzgal. Besite right now looking for his teammates, looking for any options who will go up front. Bernardo dispossessed by Daisuke Sato once again. Composure of the back line. Good touch from Omeiso. Besite getting the ball away from Davao. Long ball forward, looking for Ariola. Opted for the first time strike, but that's not going to challenge Dini Watara any time of the day.
Parang hindi kasing linis yung gustong itira na yun ni Ariola. Not the cleanest of strikes. But you just get the feeling, Jamer, that Army nag-antay lang sa unang goal. Once they get that first goal going, it will energize them and their team. Well, Davao Aguilas so far doing a great job in frustrating itong Philippine Army.
They've been getting most of the possession already. It's one thing that they keep the ball, and they're also making good use of the possession. And yun nga, nakaka-frustrate para dito sa Philippine Army FC na bihira ko na nga lang makuha yung bola, hindi ko pa magamit ng maayos. Ariola.
Hindi kasi nila makuha yung Star Polaris.
Yung official ball ng PFL, as Bernardo on the right side sends a long ball forward. Villarreal is there to head it out. Clarino cleaning it up for Davao. Jasor Soriano with the ball, opting to go past the midfield, taken down by Cart Talarok.
Well, you criticize Army all you want, but you cannot criticize their determination. Nakita mo, they're really trying to find the opening goal.
A free kick right now for Philippine Army FC. A chance for them to pull a goal back and see if they could turn things around. Free kick just going over everybody there, allowing Dini Watara to just raise his hands to the roof and wait for the goal kick.
Well, it's a very eventful first half. We had 3 goals scored in the first 45 minutes. But since then, medyo tahimik on the goal scoring end. Although napakaraming action on the field.
They could go for more here, Davao.
But Army is showing a semblance of pressure. And laking tulong talaga if you play at this time slot heat is not much of a factor, and there's actually a cool breeze passing through Rizal Memorial Stadium.
As Talarok Cart dancing and prancing inside the box. Bedia, but gets the goal anyway. What a performance from Cart Talarok there. Little bit of a boogie, little bit of a cha-cha inside the box, and scores the 4th goal of the game for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Well, kakasabi lang natin na wala pang goal na nakikita in the second half. And look at the way that he just dances and bamboozles the defense ng Army. Took a deflection, to be fair, pero just completely fooling yung goalkeeper. You can see the delight in the Aguilas' face, and you can see the dejection in the Army's faces.
Talarok brothers are celebrating as Cart puts 3 defenders on their skates and scores through a deflection to make it 4-0 for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. And it's about how they're going to close this game out for Davao, as 3 points are pretty much in the bag for them with 20 minutes remaining or so in this game. And with a frustrated Philippine Army FC side, it's already them to lose in this game. Villarreal starts the play from the back. They can afford to have a couple of passes in their back line with this kind of margin that they have over Philippine Army FC.
Good run. Good run.
Clarino is
That
there.
will be another goal for Davao. That is an excellent run.
Sequence finally capped by Davao Aguilas UMak FC. And that's Jomari Sapal closing it out after that good run from OJ Clarino. Jomari Sapal, thanks to an assist from Richard Talarok, gives them the 5th goal for a near 5-star performance for Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Just keeping the ball in play, and an on-rushing teammate is there for a simple tap-in. But that play, that goal was made possible by that good run on the right side from OJ Clarino, the veteran. He's been a constant threat. Remember, in the first half, he delivered those crosses to Ibrahim. And now, I think you can credit the 5th goal, half of it, to OJ Clarino.
Good run from OJ Clarino there. But again, you could see that these are the holdovers of Davao Aguilas UMak FC from their return to club football. You have OJ Clarino, you have Richard Talarok, as well as Jomari Sapal. All of these players played their comeback season in the Copa Paulino Alcantara, and they're showing the type of chemistry that they have in that sequence to score the 5th goal of the game.
Good challenge here by Sato. It's a fair and strong challenge. Baka makita natin mamaya sa replay yun. It's just nullifying the threat of Army.
2 players on 1, and they almost won the ball, but a foul is called by the referee. Inoki just pleading his case to the assistant referee on the right side. But a call has been made, and a free kick is coming up for Philippine Army FC. A chance for a consolation goal here, or something that could just not really wake them up anymore, because we're past the wake-up call. This is more of just giving them a little bit of a boost of morale heading into the final few minutes of the game and possibly into their next matches. Headed out by the defense. Acres of space And a run for Davao. Now taken back to Mark Anthony Bedia. Villarreal stayed on with the pressure. The center back going all the way up front. Just couldn't find the goal there. "15 minutes remaining in this game. Philippine Army just wants to possibly save something of their faces in this game. They've been on the receiving end of 5 goals already. They've been frustrated by Davao Aguilas UMak FC in terms of physicality. And on that note, Kenneth Gubalio of Davao Aguilas UMak FC will be coming in to replace the unshaken, the unbothered Dini Watara. Although he had a couple of scares in the first half, but not enough to shake him off his boots for the remainder of the game. And he's now taking a rest from this game as he's going to be replaced by Kenneth Gubalio.
So giving playing time to Kenneth Gubalio, the number 1 ng Davao Aguilas. Well, next up for Davao is a strong test. They'll be facing Stallion next. So you can see maybe some of the subs that are going to be made from here on in will have an eye towards that big match against Stallion. And sinasabi nga natin, there are 6 teams more or less who are genuine and legitimate title contenders, and 2 of them are Stallion and Davao, who will face each other next week. So you want to be as fresh as possible, as injury-free as possible when you play against Stallion.
And that could be Davao's first real test of the season, having to face one of the title contenders here in the Philippines Football League. So it's really high time for them to utilize the bench and make use of those fresher legs to keep your core team fresh as possible for that match.
So far, ang kalaban ng Davao, ang nakalaban nila, Mendiola, Digger, Monte, and Philippine Army. Strong teams, sure, but not really title contenders. So on the next match against Stallion, arguably, I would say, will go a long way in determining whether they are contenders or pretenders.
That's a great statement there, Ryan. Contenders or pretenders. That's one thing to look forward for next week in that match between Stallion and Davao Aguilas UMak FC. But again, knowing Coach Aberuzgal, he's not gonna bank on to the part that, yeah, we have already won the first few games of the season. Now we're gonna be facing our real test in Stallion Laguna FC. I'm pretty sure he's gonna tell us again that hashtag underdog mentality that they will be having as they will face Stallion next week.
O lalabas na naman nila yun. But again, it's something I think it's gonna be a great matchup because for Stallion as well, because it's gonna be a test as well for Stallion. Kung nasaan na ba ang level nila comparing themselves with fellow title contenders. So talk about Army as well. Yung schedule nila hasn't really been forgiving para sa kanila. In the last 3 matches, today was Davao. Before this game was Stallion, and before that one was Taguig. So 3 title contenders in a row ang nakakalaban ng Army. And no surprise, big defeats in all 3.
They will have a chance, though, for bouncing back if they could bounce back as they face Mendiola FC 1991 in their next match.
But importante rin kasi to gain some sort of momentum going towards that game. We're talking about this game as if it's a one-ball game, but barring a major miracle here, Jamer, it's going to be a one-ball game for Davao. And for Army, importante rin just to build that momentum going forward. You just want to have a little bit of buwelo, kumbaga, no? Kasi tatlong sunod-sunod na pagkatalo. Hindi lang pagkatalo, lalaki pang tampak.
But they had it in them in the first half as they were able to contain Davao Aguilas UMak FC in the first 45 minutes to just a goal there, or just a few goals in the first half. Talagang nadala na lang sila siguro ng frustrations nila ngayon dito sa laro na to, and yung frustrations of the past with them being on the receiving end of the goals, of the raining goals, despite the hot weather here in Metro Manila. inuulan sila ng goals from the first few title contenders na nakaharap nila. And Davao Aguilas are no strangers right now as they have poured 5 goals over Philippine Army FC as Daisuke Sato is down. Shoma is complaining to the referee that there has been a contact made from Philippine Army.
Some off-the-ball action. That's the tail end of the replay. We saw Sato still down.
Sato, he's not facing us, but you could feel that he's grimacing through the pain. Let's see what happened. A nudge from Jimuel Ariola. These things are quite unnecessary already. Off the ball, gaya nga ng sabi natin. Tapos, a contact like that. And when you see a player like that grimacing, even behind the camera, you would really be concerned kung ano ba talaga yung nangyari.
This is a great angle. You cannot feign ignorance there, Jimmer Ariola. He went in with pure malice and intent, I have to say. And you really don't want to go in with the intention of hurting another person, especially in a one-ball game, 5-0 for Davao. And the only purpose you have there, essentially, I have to say, is try to hurt the opponent. It's totally unnecessary. It is uncalled for. I would call it even unprofessional.
But we want to make sure that we maintain professionalism in this kind of game. And again, babalik tayo dun sa sinasabi natin na if you would expect some kind of discipline, it should come from these set of players, the Philippine Army, where discipline is something that is being instilled in them since day one. Not even when you join the team, the football team itself, but when you join the Philippine Army itself. It's discipline that is being instilled in you since day one.
Although si Sato, just to cut you off, I think probably just milking it as much as he can, but you know, it's talagang ganun, you know, tinamaan ka na eh.
Oo eh. Naramdaman mo na yung contact eh. And
Oh,
it's a red card. That was a red card for Jimuel Ariola. Not the way he wanted to end this game against Davao Aguilas UMak FC. But it's just about their frustration getting into their heads. Ariola still have some words to say, but he's going to be ushered back into the dugout. Still a few words coming from the bench of Philippine Army as their team captain Ricardo Besita III needed to step in.
I mean, the referee has got to get a hold of this game very quickly.
You don't want this kind of ending to a match. So cooler heads should prevail, and prevail they will, as one of the assistant coaches of Davao Aguilas UMak FC have already, we could say, apologized or gave Coach Boogie Margarce some nice words to just finish this argument.
It's going to be a very interesting conversation, Jamer.
This is going to be interesting as a card is coming out. That's coming out of the left pocket. So that's just going to be a caution or a yellow card. So I think that's going to one of the bench players of Davao Aguilas FC, kung sino, ayun ang balaisipan sa atin ngayon because some of the players on that bench as well may have instigated that action that came from Jimwell Ariola.
Well, you see your captain down on the field and hurt unnecessarily, in your opinion. But few choice words as well to the referee and to the opposing team. But again, these are filed under things you do not want to see on the football field.
Ocho Berrosgal needed to step in as well and tame his players. I know that you wanted to defend our team captain, our prized Daisuke Sato, but let's keep the colorful words to a minimum. And we are back into action with 5 minutes remaining plus some added time, of course. And with that commotion, you would expect 2 or 3 more minutes being added on.
So Army is down to 10 men.
A real huge mountain to climb. 5 goes down and a man down as well. With Davao running through the wings, just losing acres of space there is OJ Clarino. So throw in for Philippine Army. Soriano with the clearance. Now they take it back for Davao Aguilas, UMak FC. Shoma Sato. Time for them to relax a little bit before formulating another attack. Omaiso back to Shoma Sato. To Daisuke Sato, the team captain. Test of patience right now for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Would they want to add another goal to that or just keep the scoreline that we have?
As we see a pair of subs coming on for both teams.
Substitutions in place right now. First for Philippine Army, Jal Soriano is checking out for Jamar Cortez. Then 3 players from Davao Aguilas UMak FC coming in. We're seeing Oriel Dalapo, Romel Catarinin, and Reynald Sapal coming in. Reynald replacing Jomari, his brother. Then Romel Catarinin coming in for Richard Talarok. And Oriel Dalapo replacing Car Talarok, one of the other scorers in this game.
Replaced by player number 31, Reynald Sapa. Substitution for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Player number 13, Cart Calaro. Replaced by player number 11, Uriel Dalapo.
With the one ball game, I think Davao wise to use their subs.
Time to get those fresh legs in and give the younger ones the experience here in the Philippines Football League, as Unoki wants another goal for himself, but Bedia is there to pluck the ball out of the thin air.
And at the same time also just conserve and prevent any more injuries for the starters ng Davao Aguilas.
Yeah, they have a big game coming up next week. They have to prepare, of course. If you're subbed out of this game, meron ka pang training over the week. So you want to be fresh for those training sessions and make your name into the starting list again against a bigger opposition in Stallion Laguna FC, as Daisuke Sato is down on his knees begging the assistant referee, but that was called for a foul in favor of Philippine Army.
Confirmation, Richard Talarok is subbed off. The substitute, full of energy.
A little bit of a push, yung extension ng arm, yung nagbigay nung foul doon. Had he kept that, pwedeng body check or shoulder check lang. Free kick coming in from Besite. Near post. Not working. Unoki clearing the ball out. What a lovely move from Omeiso. And now freeing up the substitute, Romel Catarinin. Ibrahim Endur checking where the ball is. Philippine Army wins possession. Hoping to keep it this time. Deflection from Yosuke Unoki. Ball goes out in favor of Philippine Army. It allows another substitution for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. That's OJ Clarino checking out for Armagideon Estrellan.
What a fantastic name.
Galing na magulang nito. Armagideon. Armagideon Estrellan.
Yan ang pangalan na talaga. Tatandaan mo. Armagideon Estrellan. Remember the name.
Quite a unique name. Medyo nakakatakot ng konti pero binigyan ng konting lambing dun sa Gideon.
And let's see what he can do in this extra time of 5 minutes na binigay.
And that's the result of all of the other commotions earlier on. 5 minutes of stoppage time here. Of course, part of those minutes is yung celebration din ng goals ng Davao Aguilas UMak FC. But Davao is now looking ahead away from this game and into their upcoming match against Stallion Laguna FC, with them resting their prized possessions, their starting 11, giving way for their younger players or their second stringers as well. Assistant referee's flag has been raised for a foul. It's going to be called against Reynald Sapal. The tackle on Roynick Bernardo. So you look into that once more. Roynick was on the clear, but just catching part of the boots there by Reynald Sapal. So here's a free kick coming in from Besite. Great pass into the middle, just going through everybody there. Still a chance. Far side cross, cleared once more by Davao Aguilas UMak FC. And they will try to win possession again, and they will, as they're on the run. Ibrahim Endur in the middle. Couple of players supporting him. Advantage, says the referee. Cut back. Unoki, covered by two players in yellow and green. Still Unoki. Unoki down the byline. Looks back. Looking for a teammate to pass the ball to.
Ang sarap panoorin, no? Parang hindi mo matakuha yung bola sa paa niya eh.
Hirap makuha eh. Daisuke Sato to Romel Catarinin. Back to Reynald Sapal. Good possession here for Davao Aguilas. With about 2 minutes remaining, they still have a chance to go for one more. Final nail in the coffin if you want to. Possession stops for Davao as Philippine Army on their own looking for a possible consolation goal. Bernardo. Binalik ang bola. Good 1-2 pass. Bernardo freed up on the right side, but Unoki is there to cover. Good passing now for Philippine Army. Bernardo. Now Daisuke Sato takes it back to Kenneth Gubalio, the replacement keeper of Dini Watara. A minute and 15 remaining. And Davao is still on the run on the right side. No foul there as Uriel de Lapo is asking for it. Philippine Army dejected, frustrated. Had the better of them by Davao Aguilas UMak FC, who scored 5 in a near 5-star performance, setting themselves up for a Clash of the Titans next week against Stallion Laguna FC. Besita with a long ball forward, but Kenneth Gubalio is just gonna hold on to that ball. And just a few seconds remaining in this game. Davao have the 3 points in the bag and gets themselves a continuation of their winning streak here in the Philippines Football League 2024 season. While Philippine Army are seeing themselves at the back of a 5-game losing streak. Dalapo, final moments of the game. And Uriel Dalapo with a through ball, not connecting there for Unoki. That could be the final chance for Davao Aguilas UMak FC. Philippine Army sends a long ball forward. That's Sumailo on the right side. Ball goes over him, and that is it. Referee says no mas. A 5-goal performance from Davao Aguilas UMak FC.
Ladies and gentlemen,
They've done it all, possession-wise, shots on target, and keeping their cool heads against Philippine Army FC. What's your takeaway on this performance from Davao Aguilas UMak, Ryan?
Well, it's a professional performance for Davao. They came in here and got the job done with the focus on getting the full 3 points, and they just blocked away the noise and all the distractions and all the yellow and red cards, and they just put their head down, got the full 3 points. It's all that matters.
Full throttle to the 3 points here as what Coach Aberosgal aimed for the start of the game. A red card on the side of Philippine Army FC as we take a look at some of the highlights of the match. This is the goal from Cartalarok. He put 3 defenders into their roller skates before getting that deflection off of another defender.
And the way he danced through the Army defense, it's actually a joy to see. And that was the nail in the coffin. If Army thought of having any sniff of getting back into the game, that was effectively snuffed out by that goal.
Long ball forward, good passing coming from Davao Aguilas UMak FC really paved the way for the 3 points here in this match. And again, you would say that Philippine Army FC still in their 5th game of the season trying to find that wake-up call that they're looking for. And this is the sequence that you were so happy about, Ryan. The passing, the run from OJ Clarino, and the finish from Jo Marisapal.
Persistence personified, and that trailing run was what made the score 5-0. And Davao Aguilas making no mistake. Army just left with more questions than answers. Army still winless, and they still searching for the 3 points, while these guys here, Davao Aguilas, will feel that they've done their jobs, and they're very much looking forward to thanking their supporters now and looking forward to the match against Stallion.
As the Davao Aguilas UMak FC celebrates with Ultras Davao, we head to Nina Alvia for our man of the match.
Here with me is the moment man of the match, Daisuke Sato, with 43 completed passes, which is a 93% pass completion. So, Daisuke, how do you feel that you won this game 5-0? What is the mindset to not relax?
Sato. Shoma Sato, 14. Yeah. Which one?
So
Daisuke
first-
is 16-6.
But we just want to ask, what was the mindset of the team coming into today's match?
Yeah, I'm happy to today's win, but I'm focused on the more next game. So important stadium is, I think, good. I'm focused on next game.
So now with Philippine Army knowing that they were a tough team, how were you able to square up against their aggressiveness?
Yes, I think so. So not easy the game today, but we every day focus on training, but already next game.
So now you're looking forward to the next game, which is Stallions. They're one of the stronger teams. So how do you feel?
Yes, Stallion is good team. We focus next game, so important game we can get the win. Thank you.
Thank you so much and
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you.
In favor of Davao Aguilas, UMak FC. On behalf of my partner here, Ryan Phoenix, we really want to thank you all for catching this special serving of the Philippines Football League match between Davao and Philippine Army. Up next will be the match between Manila Monte and Mendiola FC 1991. This is Philippines Football League, PFL on the rise.
People always trying to put me down on the ground, but I never be jealous because I'm the right in their mind. In their minds, screw up with me, boy. Don't go crying in their eyes. Come on, at me, boy.